Hello, my name is Jim McLean, and this is my Improving Technology implementation. This is a guide for technology-rich schools. This is kind of an overview of my paper for Ed 728. So I'll be talking about how technology-rich schools can improve their implementation of technology. Um, on the preface that a lot of these schools already have quite a bit of access to technology, but are struggling to kind of take that next step in the technology movement in terms of getting students more engaged and using them instead of the bare minimum. Um, so first off, the premise of this project is to kind of come up with become change agents in our technology journey in terms of this technology integration course. And now that we have all of this information at our disposal, we're supposed to take this and apply it to either the situation that we're currently in as student teachers or as future educators in our future endeavors. Kind of a make-believe scenario, but it can be very tied to real-world applicable skills that we're going to have to advocate for more technology in the classroom and better use for technology instead of just having technology in the classroom. It's not so much having it, but actually like using it and implementing it um, for what's best for the students and what's going to get them engaged and inspired and having fun and enjoying their process of becoming educated citizens. So the experience that I've been dealing with is both the middle school and the high school that I've been at had very wide access to technology, either in the form of one-to-one in carts in Google Chromebook carts, as you can see in this example that I kind of just threw together, but also in the fact that they allow rented out laptops that are given to the students to take care of and to have for both school and home use. And they've been doing that since I believe 2007, 2006 maybe. When I was a high school student, they just started the program. I think it was when I was a junior in high school. So it still seems like that they are still using the laptops at the high school for the same things that when I was there, just from an observational standpoint. I know some teachers that are using them and going above and beyond and kind of really evolving the craft of teaching with technology and coaching students to use the technology in really cool and innovative ways. But those are very few and far in between from what I've noticed, and it's kind of at the basic level of just using PowerPoint and maybe use a YouTube video or two, but mostly using the textbook, online. Um, Having the occasional, it's more the teachers using the technology, not so much the students. It's still a lot of paper and pencil kind of skill and drill. It's much of the same units and progressions and activities. I know one thing that's difficult is reading on a computer or doing soul work just on a computer because a lot of the stuff in high school is very text heavy. But there are kind of ways I think you can get around doing that as long as you're kind of looking in the right places. So this is basically uh, my outline for 5 ways or 5 initiatives or goals for improving implementation of technology in schools similar to the ones that I student taught at, ones that I actually went to. I went to both this middle school and this high school, and it's neat to see that the middle school is kind of evolving and trying to initiate more of these things. So some of these are borrowed from what they're already doing, and then some of them are just what I think both could do more of. So the first goal is to increase frequency. So what I've noticed is that some teachers do a really good job of they use them every day and use them in the same ways over and over again, which is good, kind of gets them in their routine, especially for middle school students. But I feel like there could be other ways instead of just using them for the same 1 or 2 ways every single day that you could maybe vary it up a little bit, kind of switch it up instead of just using the Chromebooks every single day, maybe using more of your cell phones, using your iPads, those things like that. Um, But then there are some teachers that barely ever use them at all, and if they do, they're kind of over in the corner collecting dust. They barely are, the students mainly use them maybe only at home, and when it comes to in the classroom, they're still using the paper and pencil method, or only the teachers really using their technology to project a video or to do a video lecture or to show notes. And so the kids are taking notes the same old ways with a paper and pencil, which is fine. I think that there's moments that will work and that will be sufficient, but I feel like there are other opportunities that you could do those things. So I offered some examples, maybe not so much in the paper, but just I'll offer some here. Daily oral language, some KWL, assessments and different types of assessments, and puzzle making, different activities, apps, app development, coding. There's lots of different things in terms of a very wide variety of subjects that anybody could get involved with. But I think what's hindering a lot of teachers from increasing their frequency and kind of getting stuck in their comfort zone or just in the day-to-day routine of things is that there isn't much comfort or confidence with technology a lot of the time. I feel like some teachers are hard. It's hard for them to take that plunge, especially when they're very comfortable with what they're doing already. And maybe there's leaders that are kind of just resting on their laurels and kind of just saying, it's fine to kind of just continue what you're doing, and what you're doing is just the bare minimum. And when you kind of do that, you model for your students that doing the bare minimum is just as well. So I think that core teachers need to do more of the leaning on each other and being okay with not having all the answers and taking a step back and really reevaluating. Maybe there's just taking small steps to make it so that you can develop those skills. So what the middle school does really well is they have those Tech Tuesdays. So they're in-house, and just a teacher will randomly take an idea and do a mini workshop on it for about maybe an hour at the most, just to kind of get the ball rolling. And then there's a different teacher that leads every week or every other week. So just taking a step like that, I think, can really get things going and really allow teachers to bond over that and rely on their colleagues to develop some skills and figure out ways to implement. So another thing that I talked about in this paper a lot was problem-based learning or project-based learning. I think PBLs and technology implementation go hand in hand. I feel like they're like peanut butter and jelly, hence why I added that picture. I think they're very, you can have one without the other, but they're like really, really good together. They can rely on student interests and allow students to be differentiated in very unique and engaging ways for the student, and it relies on those kind of ideas of multiple intelligence development. And I feel like each core curriculum class can have their own ways of doing problem-based learning, and working on kind of more relevant and hands-on skills in every single class. That being said, I think you need to take PBL not just as an individual core class or even an individual student, but take it to the next level in terms of a community. So I think increasing teacher collaboration is a big effort that I think would help a lot of schools in their development. So collaboration and team-wide PBLs kind of reminds me back to the Mission Hill videos that we did at the very beginning of the whole master's program. We talked about Mission Hill and how they have these themes that they do for every trimester. And I thought that was really I think that was really inspiring to kind of look at how a community as diverse and as unique as it is to have such some high needs learners being able to participate with everybody else and be included, but also have the rigor and hands-on activities that the students were able to have K through 8. So I think having a project that English, social studies, science, math, and even the encore classes can be involved with STEM and family consumer science, students can kind of find their own way. And even I might not mention it in my paper, but maybe an 8th grade capstone project that they can kind of do their own thing and kind of put their own spin on different projects, I think would be a really cool experience for students to have. Another goal that lastly, that would like to go into is digital citizenship and community oversight. So I think a lot of teachers get hung up on the safety and the over reliance on technology, and I think it's safe to say that there are risks and health hazards for being solely and supremely focused on technology. And I think kids are starting to see that nowadays with a lot of mental health and with other health issues. But I think if we reliably model that for our students, I think we'll be able to have those benefits and really teach them that being a good citizen does not just stop with your day-to-day interactions with people. It follows you online as well. So you have to be authentic and be genuine and be a good person regardless of where you are in society. So I think having that, establishing that at the beginning of the year, maybe even having one at the middle part of the year to kind of refresh and revise and maybe focus on current issues that are going on with students. And I think a digital citizenship and community oversight kind of goal relies also on student involved and student created policy. So students need to be involved in how the policies are implemented and different rules and expectations for student technology use. And I think that these also need to be driven into their STEM encore classes as well, so that they take those with them as they go along throughout the grades. So a general timeline for a lot of this type of goals, I guess, would start in when they outline the framework. You start kind of with that technology, citizenship, rules, expectation framework, as you do with any other development through like the Wong model of your first day of classes. You have to kind of do that with your first week or 2 weeks of classes in terms of how you're going to use technology and how you're going to build those routines into your daily classroom. And then, so before the school year, you're doing that. Before the school year, you're also figuring out ways to do a lot of these things. Then you're also editing the framework as you go, getting code of conduct and AUP forms. So different things like that that parents and guardians can be involved with as well. Just making sure the communication and everything is kind of at the forefront. And then during the first month, you're checking in with your team, finalizing your team-wide PBL, and focusing on areas of improvement that, just gathering feedback and ideas and sharing them and being able to have that open environment to share with your team and having that dialogue and communication with administration, I think is really important for teachers to implement a lot of these goals. And then I think going from there, I think having more of the individual feedback and checking in with administration and then maybe working with another classroom and having a partner that you're kind of like, okay, maybe we should try this, and then working on that, and then meeting at Tech Tuesdays to kind of work on those individual concerns and individual goals that you might have for certain projects or certain units that you might be having. I think reflection and feedback are two really important things that I think cannot go understated as being really important in developing technology. I think the whole idea that you're kind of going it alone is very misguided, but I feel like you can go it alone if you choose to do it that way. But I feel like you're doing a disservice to you and your school community if you do decide, hey, I'm going to go this alone. I'm going to go on this PBL, try this thing on my own and try to just plow through it. Or I'm just going to ignore everybody else and not do any technology. You kind of shut yourself off from a whole experience of working with other teachers, and I feel like the middle school environment that I was in really lent itself to that reflection and feedback and people working together for the betterment of the students and finding ways to differentiate in kind of unique ways for individual students. I think it was really important as well. In terms of feedback, I feel like the more open you are to feedback and the less, the more confident and comfortable you are with receiving feedback is the better way you're going to be able to take that and constructively build upon your own technology implementation strategy. So that's all I have for this video. I have a paper that matches this, but if you have any questions, just let me know. Thanks.